This video was made possible with support from viewers like you. If you find this video useful, consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/FastGadgets. Welcome back, Gadgeteers. So, Happy New Year, first of all. And I figured, you know what? I just want to make an easygoing video today. I'm kind of feeling a little bit lazy after New Year's Day. And, well, I should say New Year's Eve. And no, I didn't drink anything. I actually took it easy. I had a couple of friends over. My son had a couple of friends over. And I had a really good time. But anyway... Today what I figured I would do is I'm going to download Kubuntu, and I want to install it in a virtual machine first, and I'm going to play around with it a little bit, and I think I'm going to install Kdenlive and do a test render because I'm having an issue with render times on Kdenlive. I really would expect it to render much better. So I know it's going to be in a virtual machine, but this is just an experiment is all it is. I'm going to give the virtual machine as many processors as I give to Kdenlive and see what I can come up with, see how it does, and hopefully I can connect network wise to my SSD to my native Fedora. We'll see how that works. So just some experimentation, nothing overly exciting. But anyway, I actually already downloaded Kubuntu, and the version that I downloaded was 1704 because, as you know, at least for right now, Kubuntu 1710 has been suspended, so they're offering the previous version. So no big deal. I'm just going to download it, put it in the virtual machine, and then I'll do an update and see how it does. Now, I've already downloaded it, so let's go ahead and create a new virtual machine. We'll call it Kubuntu 1704. Whoops. Just so I can keep these separated. And I think I'm going to give it... I'm going to give it 8 gig of RAM. Because the experimentation I want to do, I want to have it relatively close to what I'm dealing with right now when I do Kdenlive rendering. And next, we'll create a new virtual hard disk. We'll use a VDI. We're going to do dynamic allocation, and I think I'll put this up to about, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter since it's dynamic. How about a roughly 228 gigabyte SSD? Now, before I launch this, I'm going to go back into settings here and cruise over to system and check out processor. Now it's got one CPU. I think I'll jack that up to, I think 8 is safe. Execution cap 100%. Display, I'll give it all the available video memory that I can give it. One monitor. Scale factor normal. Will enable 3D, and seems like whenever I enable 2D it doesn't work. I'm not going to do video capture. I've got OBS for that. Storage is all set. I will click OK. Now, if I'm not mistaken, when I start this virtual machine, it should ask me, please select a virtual optical disk. Okay, cool. I will do that. I'm going to go to, instead of Aurora, I'm actually going to cruise over to my 4 terabyte drive, and I have a Kubuntu on there, and we'll do open, and we'll go ahead and start it. Hopefully my teeth aren't too brown. I've been eating Oreo cookies. So I was thinking I might wait to do updates, see if I have any problems. First thing I think I'll do is pull in Kdenlive and just see what happens. So let's go ahead and do an install. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger on the display and pull it over here, make sure it's not in the way of my beautiful face up in the corner that you get to look at. Who's kidding who? Anyway, I don't think I'll download the updates right at this moment. I will go with third-party graphics, Wi-Fi, hardware, flash, MP3, other media. I'm hoping that if I'm not mistaken, the VirtualBox drivers get installed automatically when you install Ubuntu. It's been a while for me, so we'll see what happens. Let's use the whole disk since it's virtual anyway. Yes, I know the changes will erase the virtual hard drive and create it as an ext4 partition type. Okay, well this is pretty cool. It seems to know what time zone I'm in. It says Canada is my region. I don't think it really matters that much as long as it's got the time zone right, quite frankly. I will do continue. English US keyboard. I think this is cool that you can see the keyboard layouts. Just curious. Oh wow, that's really cool. Not a huge change there. How about German? Not a really huge change. I kind of still can get it. How about Hebrew? Getting a little bit different there. How about Syrian Arabic? Yeah, I'd have to definitely learn about that if I was going to do that. Anyway, that's pretty neat though that you can see the keyboard layout. And this is why I like installing different distributions, because I can learn so much about it. I think I'll just go with my name. I think I'll call this I wonder if it'll let me do a dash. I suppose it will. Well, thank you for letting me have Kubuntu for free. I want it to work for me too. I do. So I was going to do this as a live stream, but today I've got a sore throat. I'm hoping I don't have something worse than a sore throat, and I keep having to clear my throat. I'm going to cut them all out because they're egregious. I'm telling you right now. It takes me like 2 minutes to clear my throat. And I didn't want you to have to put up with that in the live stream. But yeah, I was going to do a live stream, just have some fun and talk to you guys and see how everything was going. But as it is, hopefully my voice will improve and I can get a live stream in this week. I know that a lot of streamers do video games and stuff like that, so I want to pose this question while this installation is going. I edit down quite a bit all the lulls and slow times and boring stuff out of a video like this, and I'm wondering, would you really be interested in watching a live stream of me fumble and possibly curse and work through something that could take hours and hours? Because if you're interested, I might very well do that. I've considered doing that, but you know, my psyche, my brain tells me it's impossible. Nobody could possibly be interested in a 3 or 4 hour live stream of somebody working in Linux and trying to get something working and fumbling through it. You know what I mean? I cut out all my fumbling and my research and my hms and ha's and things like that, because I'll be shooting it and I'll just switch to my other monitor and run my browser and start trying to figure out what the problem is. You know, well, I could put the browser on screen for you guys so you could see it, but I just can't imagine. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody would like to see that. I really haven't seen it done anywhere on YouTube yet. And I don't do Twitch. I don't know if somebody's doing it on Twitch, but you just never know what might pique somebody's interest. So drop me a comment in this video and let me know what you think. I tell you, having this Ryzen 7 with an SSD, beautiful. Thing's already ready to reboot. That's just totally awesome. Aha! I have to remove the installation media. Looks like it's saying it's already moved from the drive. So let's see what happens. Okay, it's legit. We're going to log in as Mark. Hoping the drivers have installed. Looks like they may have. Wired connection 1 is activated. Really can't tell if they are installed yet. That's the one thing I'm not 100% sure about. Let's do insert guest editions. There's another version, so we'll go ahead and download those. See if we get a prompt to do an installation right inside the virtual machine. That'd be cool. I wonder if Kubuntu is already installed, or Kubuntu. Okay, we're going to insert this. Go to Control, Configure Dolphin, show full path, editable location bar, apply, OK. So if I'm here on VBox Editions, now I can see the actual location, because honestly it can differ by distribution, and even if it didn't, I'm one of those people who forget quite often, and so yeah, I'm terrible, I know. See if we can make this bigger for you guys. Doesn't seem to respond to Control++ or Control Shift++. View, enlarge font. Yeah, for some reason it wasn't responding to that. I don't know why. Anyway, I wanted to make it a little bit larger so you could see it. We'll become root. We'll do a change directory, then shift insert. And we can do an ls here. And I'll do a /run as root.shell. Okay. No joy there. We'll try VBox Linux editions.run. box Linux editions run. The one thing I've heard about Ubuntu is usually things just work. And, you know, with Fedora, some of them don't. So with Ubuntu, you get some gimmies. And in Linux land, yeah, see, these just worked. In Fedora, there's a series of error messages and some fixes you have to do, which I've created a video for. So if you get a chance, check it out. 398 packages to update. We're not going to do that right now. No, I think I'll dodge that. I'm going to run a reboot, see if those drivers install. I think they are, but I'm just going to do a reboot real quick. And then we'll see about setting up a link. Basic but clean login screen. Okay, so I'm wondering, let's see. We've got drag and drop, but I need shared folders. So what can I do with shared folders? How about a plus, folder path, other. Mark would be awesome if I could do that. Auto mount it, make it permanent, and I don't want read only. I really hope this works. That'd be very cool. Okay, so how Interesting. So we got a kind of bugaboo here. I am not seeing the start bar there. I wonder why. I wonder if it could have anything to do with here in my machine settings. Where is it? Right here where I enabled 3D video acceleration. I'm sure if I did an update, everything would get better, right? I don't want to wait for the update, though, if I don't have to. I guess I should check and see if Kdenlive's installed. Let's find out. No, doesn't look like it. All right. Okay, this is kind of freaky. So yeah, I ran terminal and nothing came up. We're shutting this thing down. We're taking it down. Huh. Looks like it might have taken itself down, huh? I might not have any choice but to do the updates. We'll do a hard reset and see what we get. But you know how it is. Without updates, man, these systems are full of bugs, which is really sad. But it's the way it is. Okay. We'll get logged in. We do not get our start bar, so I'm wondering if I could. One of these guys was telling me there were updates available. Wow. Okay, so we're just dead in the water here, so I'm going to try to do an ACPI shutdown. And I'm going to go back into the settings here, display. I'm going to turn off 3D and see if I can enable 2D. Nope, says invalid setting. Okay. So we've turned off 3D acceleration. And it looks like I'm going to have to run an update. Doesn't look like I have much of a choice. I did get my start bar back, so sudo, see if we can do control ++. Nope, still can't do that. Oh, enlarge. Enlarge again. Enlarge again. Okay. I'm just going to do sudo bash because I can't remember the apt-get, maybe apt-get update. See what happens. Yeah, so how do we get this thing to do an update? Update is used to download package information for all other commands. Operate, blah, blah, blah. Upgrade is used to install available upgrades. See, the thing is, I consider an upgrade different than an update, but let's try it. apt-get upgrade. Yeah, I can handle that. 389 packages. Only going to use 80-some megabytes. I'm surprised. I did my Fedora update, and woo! I couldn't believe that. It did 700 megabytes of updates. Oh, let's see if we can do full screen here. What will happen? Yep, it scaled nicely. Now I can make my screen a little bit bigger here. Much better. 'Tis the season for coffee. My son got me a burr grinder, and my brother-in-law got me some really good bean coffee, so enjoying a very good cup of coffee. All right, well, we're back. It's been so long, actually, since I cut, I don't remember where I was, but after a good hour or so of working, I finally got shared folders to work, and it's so annoying because it never works. Well, I shouldn't say never works, but things like this tend to be a real pain in the ass. So here's what I ended up doing. I went into devices, I created a shared folder, and it is a machine folder on the host system, my Fedora system, which is my home directory mark, and I called the share mark. Then there was actually only one command I needed to run, so I don't have it set to automatically mount because the automatic mount doesn't work and you can't make any changes to it, so you just try to log in and nothing works. So what I did was mount it manually, and the name of the server, which is your host machine that you're trying to find a share on, is vboxsf, and you have to create a directory, of course, to mount the server into, and I called it mount mark, and then this is the share that is on vboxsf -o, and then this is very important. You had to use the UID and the GUI group ID of 1000, which is usually you. Sometimes you have to go check, but in this case it was. So this was the only command I actually had to run. So once I did that, I was able to get logged in to my main computer. So I've gotten all the updates done. We'll go ahead and switch the view back to full screen mode, and now I can see, let's see if I can change this view here, all of the stuff that resides on my actual server, which is Fedora. So we're in Kubuntu. What we want to do now, I'm hoping, is do an apt-get install Kdenlive. So it is there. We'll do a yes to install it. And I do have a Kdenlive folder on my actual Fedora system with projects. So I'm going to have to be careful because I don't want to change the actual project I was working on. So what I think I'll do, go into Kdenlive here, and let's look at the latest one I was doing, which was none of these. Installing the Windows 10 Creator Update. So we're going to launch it, and it's going to complain and say it can't find stuff. Oh, it wants VLC or Zine. Well, let's do an apt get install VLC and Zine. How about them cookies? Zine has no installation candidate. Well, how about just VLC? Can you at least do that? Too bad. Zine's pretty good. When you have an older computer and you're on Linux, Zine, X-I-N-E, is a very good video player because for whatever reason it's very efficient and it'll play full screen HD video no problem, even on an older system where the built-in player doesn't work and VLC doesn't work. So okay, so we got what it wants. Project type is unsupported, cannot be loaded. Please consider upgrading your Kdenlive edition. Oh no! It looks like the Kdenlive that's being used here is older, and you know, that's not that big of a deal. Let's see, if I do help about Kdenlive, we're on 16.12.3, and if I go back to devices, oops, no, I don't want that. Sorry. View. Turn off full screen for a minute. We'll run Kdenlive on our host machine. Help about Kdenlive 17.081. Oh boy. Yay. Well, I wonder, I shouldn't have done that quite so fast. Go back to video editor and we'll open recent. Windows 10 Creators Update, and we'll do Save As, and we'll see. No, Kdenlive Video Project Document. Bummer, man. That's alright. I think what I'll do, I'll just go here, and instead of being in Kdenlive, we'll go right down to Videos, FastGadgets, Raw, Windows 10 Creators Update. I really like this view. I always forget how to fix that. Configure Dolphin, Startup, View Modes, use common properties for each folder. Apply, OK. Okay, so now it should use this view. I'm thinking what I'll do, let's go full screen again. It just makes viewing a little bit easier. And let's slide over. This file is actually considerably bigger. So we're going to drop this into video. Well, you got to drop it into the timeline. But your clips profiles HD 1080p 60 frames a second. Okay. That might explain why it took so long to render, now that I think about it. Because I used my iPhone SE and I may have had it set for 1080p 60 frames. I'll have to check. But anyway, we're going to drop this sucker in here. And I wonder if sound passes through. I got to turn my speakers on real quick. It should pass through. VirtualBox should be new enough to be able to do this. Let's check our audio on our main board here. Actually, that's the audio on the virtual machine, so there is the answer. So let's see what happens.
Okay, so I did all this work and I'm thinking, you know, what did I get out of this? Well, I went and read an article on The Verge, and I know, of course, this is not the only authority, of course, about the Fall Creators Update, but it's the first site that came up, so I decided to check it out, because they usually hit the big things that really are...
We don't need to hear that. It's working. And what's amazing is I'm in a virtual machine, and if I go in and turn on Zoom and go full screen, how does it... That's just... I can't believe it. I mean, it's actually displaying just fine. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to snag me... Go back here. Oops, wrong button. But anyway, you know, that's me doing the wrong button. There's an input, and I'm going to go for... Shrink this down a little bit. 1 minute. And set an out point. Cruise up to render. And I want to duplicate my render settings that I normally use, which is MP4. Oh, encoder speed, I usually set it to half of what's available, so I'll do 4 threads. And what other settings? I did more options, 4 threads. Let's check out configure Kdenlive environment. I'm going to set this to approximately half of what's available. That's what I do with my default system, and it seems to work best for fastest render. I'll click OK. I'm going to do selected zone. And let's render to file. And we're going to see what happens. So it's saying about 2 minutes, because we're going to duplicate this on the actual hardware and find out if we get a better render time. I like that system monitor is right in there. It's kind of freaky running 2 KDE plasmas because You know, this looks like it's just my normal system monitor, so the only way I'm sure is if I try to run it off my virtual virtual workstation off of screen 1 onto screen 2, because I've got 2 physical monitors. And over here on my right monitor I can see my OBS, and a browser and some other stuff. Alright, I'm going to let this baby render, and I will be right back, because I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. Okay, so the VM actually rendered that 1 minute in 2 minutes 51 seconds. So what I'm going to do is set this up on my actual physical Ryzen 7 machine, and I'm going to give it the same amount of cores and threads as I did for Kdenlive here, and we're just going to see for this video, same everything, 1 minute. So we got 2 minutes 51 seconds. I am going to leave the VM running, but I'm going to stop the video. Well, I don't think I got to worry about it. I'll leave OBS running. I really want to find out if I'm getting the same sort of time. Okay, so let's get out of our VM here. Hello, Mr. VM. Okay, I guess I wasn't actually full screen, was I? Anyway, I'll minimize that for right now. Let's see what's busy and what's not. CPU 6%. Nah. Even with OBS running, or am I looking at... No, I'm still in the virtual machine. I'm truly confusing myself. Okay, there we go. Let's do view. I guess I could have done a host F and I would have known right away what I was doing. Now let's minimize this, and I'm going to close this. So I still got the VM running. Let's go into case discard and find out how busy my processor is. Not very. And I'm going to run the video editor. We'll start with a clean slate here, and I'm going to... And this is on my physical hardware, keep that in mind. We'll start with home. Videos. Sorry, home, videos, FastGadgets, raw. Windows 10 Creators Update. We went with the... No. Let me add this in. This video is not 60p. Drop it in the timeline. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm going to go back to the Kubuntu virtual machine and just make sure I've got the same one. Yes, it wasn't 60 frames. It must be because it's an older, and it wasn't even on my iPhone. I should probably pay attention, and I shouldn't have done that because I didn't do it on the other one. Okay, so let's set an endpoint there. And we'll go to 1 minute and set an out point, and I'm just going to check. I'll leave this up for right now. My actual out point, yeah, about the same. Okay. So I got to go into settings, and I'm going to go to the environment. I'm going to change this to 4 processing threads, 4 concurrent. I don't remember if I did that before. And when I go to do a render, I'm going to do HEVC. This will be untitled just like the other one. I'll do more options, and I'm going to change the threads to 4. And I'm going to double check because I think I might have, no, 4, 4, and 4. Okay, so let's render the file and see what happens. Okay, so the real system finished in 42 seconds, which is no surprise because I'm virtualized, but I also wonder if that has to do with, let's go back into view, full screen. If that has to do with the fact that it set it up as a 60 frames a second So I want to go to project settings, frames, 30. Okay. Continue. Looks like I still got my in and out points, although I'm not sure where it's set it to now. So let's do this. We'll maximize. And we want to set our out point right here. Okay. Let's try to re-render it and see what happens. So 251 was our previous render time. Sounds like I better write that down because it might get erased. Hop into my junk drawer there, and we're going to do 251, and that was a 1080p 60 frames per second. I think that it could be a little faster. Selected zone. So earlier when I rendered on Fedora, I didn't have selected zone. So I had to go and redo it again. Rendering in 57 seconds. So yes, it actually did improve vastly. Only slightly slower than the physical machine. I'm just curious. And I'm just playing around because I'm kind of bored. Anyway, I'm going to go down here, go back to view, turn off full screen mode, and I'm going to bring up my actual case discard monitor down here, and let's see how many threads get busy. So I'll do render again and render to file. Yes. Let's see what happens. So it's got the CPU humming at about 56%, so it's keeping busy. It looks like it's got about 8 threads in use. We'll go where we saw a high point. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, it's sharing the load on the cores, but that's pretty cool. I mean, I wonder what would happen if I pumped up the number of cores available to Kdenlive. I'd have to shut this down to find out, but what I'm trying to determine here is whether or not this thing can actually go faster than the physical system because it's a different operating system. 1 minute total. I'll close, save changes to document. Yes. We'll just save it in actual home documents. Kdenlive test. Save. Then interesting. Yeah, this is the one I want right here. I'm just going to grab the text because it'll be much easier to just paste in. Just need a basic text editor, and I'll throw this on my other screen. I don't know why cut and paste does not work between. We're going to try this one more time. Copy. That is a negative. Cut and paste is not working I don't know if I have to enable it or what. Now I could auto mount this in FS tab, but I don't think I'm going to be here long enough to worry about that. Alright. We got to power this off. Then, and this might push a little bit on my physical machine, so we're going to up it some, but not a ton. We'll go back into settings, system, processor. It's at 8. Let's give it 14. We'll reserve 2 cores for the system proper. And I wonder if this will work. Might as well find out. Alright, let's start it. Let's watch activity here on the actual physical machine. So I upped it to 12, I think. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change, and you can see the effect on the CPU right there. I am going to change it, I think, to 8 cores, 8 threads, 8 cores. Alright, sudo bash. And mount -t vbox_sf, which is the virtual server. And the UID is 1000. And the group ID is 1000. Whoops. Ooh, well, anyway, this appears to be another common problem. Shared folders broken, so there's like 7 million different things I can try. I've been working on it for a while. I'm just going to give up. But shared clipboard here, this is very interesting. I just changed it to bidirectional and it jumped back up to disabled. So let's try that again. Devices, drag and drop. Now it's staying. It's interesting that I had to do it twice. I get kind of irritated with these kind of problems. It just sucks the life out of you, you know. I was thinking I'll come in here and I'll shoot a little video and have a little fun, and I've literally been toiling for hours. So I'm going to try and drag this video in here, and I hope it works. Looks good. Let's minimize this. We're going to minimize this. Close, close. I do not see the video on the desktop. And this is, again, quite common when I've used drag and drop. It basically doesn't do anything. So, can I drop it into a folder? So you saw me do it the first time, and you know, it started but then didn't do it. This time it appears to be working. Okay, well, it's been several minutes. I'm going to try and cancel this. It let me cancel, and I'm going to get a tiny little file and see if drag and drop can handle a tiny, dinky, inky, binky little file. So I'm not even seeing any activity. We'll try to put it in downloads. Let's see that out. Or we'll just try the desktop. So nothing's happening. I think that the drag and drop functionality's crashed. Well, anyway. One thing I've learned that shared folders sucks. And drag and drop sucks. Can I go the other way? Should we try it? Why not? We're having fun, aren't we? Because it is set for bidirectional. We'll go into documents, and here's a very tiny little file. Ugh. It's going to run it, of course, due to single clicking. in KDE by default. Let's just drag it out here. And I get the red. Can I put it in a folder? It's going to let me do that. Okay, I'm going to drop it. Copy here. Kdenlive test should be in home. How about mod date? Mod. No, it's not there in home. Well, anyway, I think the next thing I'm going to do, I pretty much feel like I got the answer I was looking for. It's not like it's going to be any faster on Kubuntu or Ubuntu or any other Linux distro. It's going to behave about the same. Kdenlive is. So it does answer my question. And it's interesting, while I was working, how many of the commands I relied on that just weren't there, like ifconfig to check my network settings. There are other commands now, newer ones. I'm so used to using ifconfig, I automatically type it. But the cool thing is, when I went to use ifconfig, the command line let me know it wasn't installed. Right here, the program ifconfig is currently not installed. You can install it by typing apt install nettools. So that was cool. And that's somewhat common on Fedora too, but this is what I was talking about with before in my distro hopping video. Some of the users said, oh yeah, everything's the same, the command line structure is the same, and it's not. There are differences, and they're not huge. And if you know what you're doing in one distro, yeah, you can, to some extent transfer your knowledge to another distro, but there are subtle changes, and sometimes you got to work through them. It's not like it's the end of the world, but you do have to do a little bit of work sometimes. And the commands are slightly different to some degree. There are the basic set of commands that are always the same, Unix, Linux, BSD, whatever, but there are a few that are a little different. But anyway, I did get to look at Kubuntu, and it's pretty cool. It's not so awful different than what I'm doing in Fedora with Kdenlive, with KDE Plasma, same interface. So I think next time I'll try a different virtual machine and play around. The other thing I'd like to do is, I think I'm going to put CentOS or something like that on my old 6-core system, my 1055T Phenom 2X6. I mean, I might as well do something with it, for experimentation, because I feel like you get more knowledge when you're doing it on hardware than you are a virtual machine. But I did learn a lot today from the virtual machine, so it wasn't like it was a lost effort. If I actually was going to rely on shared folders, yeah, I'd have to be careful. Now, I did find this interesting site with a proposed fix. And I looked, I'm running 5.1.30 of VirtualBox, but there are problems with VBox SF not working. So I may be able to do something like this to get things working, get the shared folders working again. Or I could just try a different VM or whatever, but there are always possibilities. It seems like I can always get something working if I just try and do a little research. It may take some time, but once I learn it, usually it's no longer an issue, and if it crops up again, I can fix it pretty quick. Well, I think I'm going to start editing this file up and get it uploaded to you. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget what I was talking about the comment, whether you would enjoy seeing live streams that are possibly hours long. While I was doing this video, I was thinking more about it, and there's a lot of cursing, and just me looking at the other monitor, I can't imagine how fun that would be unless you just want something running in the background. But just a thought. So let me know what you think, and I will see you next time on Fast Gadgets.